Bernie Sanders is redeeming himself a little bit with this maneuver that he's about to do. This is interesting, and from the Hill, they say, Senate Budget Committee Chairman Bernie Sanders says Democrats should ignore the recent ruling of the Senate Parliamentarian and is vowing to force the Senate to vote this week on an amendment to set the federal minimum wage at $15 an hour. Sanders on Monday declared he would not back down on his signature wage initiative after Senate Parliamentarian Elizabeth MacDonough ruled last week that a provision setting the federal minimum wage of $15 an hour would not be eligible under special budget rules Democrats are using to avoid a filibuster while passing their coronavirus relief bill. Quote, my personal view is that the idea that we have a Senate staffer, a high-ranking staffer, deciding whether 30 million Americans get a pay raise or not is nonsensical. We have got to make that decision, not a staffer who's unelected. So my own view is that we should ignore the rulings, the decision of the parliamentarian, Sanders told reporters. Now, Elizabeth Warren has also joined him on this. That's positive. And I think there might be a handful of other Democratic senators who have joined him on this and said, yeah, I think we should ignore it. There's an effort of over 20 members in the House of Representatives, the Justice Democrats and some others, who they wrote a formal letter urging Biden and Kamala to overrule the parliamentarian. AOC started a petition to say, this is bullshit. Tell Kamala Harris we are overruling this parliamentarian. So, in other words, we're actually seeing some life and some fight on the left. And allow me to say that the number of people who signed this petition to basically, say it with me, force the vote on the $15 minimum wage, imagine if you had that block of people on the left who were this committed on every one of our major issues. We would get a hell of a lot more done. But the fact of the matter is, you have to be willing to shoot the hostage. You have to be willing to shoot the hostage. So one of the problems is that Ro Khanna apparently said afterwards in some interview, he was like, well, if I'm forced to vote for the $1.9 trillion relief bill without the $15 minimum wage, I'll do it. But, I prefer we have the $15 minimum wage in there. No, Ro! No. You're a politician. You have to know how to play politics. You have to tell them, no, I'm not going to vote for it unless the $15 minimum wage is in there. So you're going to tank the whole shit if you leave it out. And you know what? I got 23 others with me who are going to do the same thing. None of us are going to vote for your $1.9 trillion relief bill if you don't put the $15 minimum wage in there. So now you have no choice. You got to get the $15 minimum wage in there. And I'm not a genius or anything, but I do know basic math, and there's how many? There were only 2 Democrats in the House that were against the $15 minimum wage. Only 2. In the Senate, there's 1 or 2 that are nominally against the $15 minimum wage, but may be able to be moved, Manchin and Sinema. So you, Joe Biden, can either try to convince 24 of us to vote for the package without the minimum wage increase in there. We're not going to do it. We're going to vote as a block. Or you could try to convince the 2 in the Senate who are against the minimum wage to be for it. Again, I think convincing 2 people to vote for the $15 minimum wage is easier than convincing 24 or 23 to vote for a bill without it in there. You see what I'm saying? You need to give him the numbers that he has to do the least amount of work by forcing people to be for the $15 minimum wage. You understand? So, in other words, you have to leverage your vote. You have to say, no, I'm not going to fucking vote for this bill if it doesn't have the $15 minimum wage. And put them in a position where they have no option but to put the $15 minimum wage in there. By the way, we might actually have the numbers if you force a vote on it. We might actually have the numbers. We definitely have the numbers in the House. It already passed in the House. And in the Senate, if you're only 2 away, you can find a fucking way. Fuck, if you have to, get Josh Hawley or some shit. Get 1 or 2 Republicans. You might actually be able to get a handful of Republicans on this. Find a fucking way. But you have to fight. Now, thankfully, they're showing some fight, and they want to force a vote on it. Wonderful. But don't stop unless you win. You have to not accept no for an answer. You need to outdo them politically. Because you know what? You have the bully pulpit. You have the American people on your side. One poll said 67% of the country is in favor of a $15 minimum wage. You have amazing numbers. If you have that on your side, use it. Use it, use it, use it, use it, use it. So they're showing a little bit of fight. You should be happy over that. But they shouldn't accept no for an answer. They shouldn't accept no for an answer. If they can't get this done, they truly are pathetic. They truly are pathetic. And if they don't get this done, it'll be because of the mindset where Ro Khanna admitted, yeah, I'll vote for it without the $15 minimum wage in there if I have to. You never say that up front. Ever. Ever. You're supposed to say the opposite. To make them think they have no choice. We got to put it in there. We got to get Manchin. We have no choice or else the thing's not going to fucking pass. And everybody knows they need the $1.9 trillion bill to pass. So, get to work, son. Get to work. So, listen, I want to give credit where credit is due. But I don't understand how people can't digest this fundamental point, which is it's always better to play hardball and use the bully pulpit. It's always better. So the fact that forced the vote on Medicare for All became such a controversy and such a split on the left, it makes no sense. It makes no sense at all. All we were asking for was the same kind of hardball and parliamentary tactics that they're close to using here. They're a tick off, but their heart's in the right place here. This is what we want. If I was in control, I would try to force a vote on all of our fucking issues. Are you kidding me? You want to know why? Because I actually believe in our platform and our ideology. And even if we lose, so what? You come back, you regroup, you come back in a little bit and you vote again. And then if you lose that one, you regroup and you come back and you vote again. And you don't stop fighting. You get people on the record. You hammer away. You hammer away. You should never run away. I mean, the polls are overwhelming on raising the minimum wage, Medicare for all. All of our issues are fucking popular. Of course I want to get a vote on it. And of course I want to point out every single person who's not with us and make their life a living hell. You are protecting them by not having votes on these things. So yes, force the vote on Medicare for all, force the vote on $15 minimum wage, force the vote on all of our fucking issues. Of course. It'll only, even if we lose, it only gets us closer to the end goal. There was a great conversation about voting rights for felons. Cori Bush proposed a bill trying to get voting rights for felons. And I think it's like half the Democrats voted for it, half the Democrats voted against it, and basically every Republican voted against it. Okay, now some people look at that and say, well, that was a giant failure. Why'd you even try? Now we know who stands where. And by the way, if you had taken this vote 5 years ago, you wouldn't get half the Democrats. So we are going to keep chipping away until you get to a point where you actually win. But at every step of the way, you should be in favor of measuring it by taking the vote, and you should be in favor of exerting political pressure on your issues. Okay, so that was the commentary around this. Hey, it's good. At least we got people on the record, and we can move forward from here, knowing what we're up against. You know, politics is fluid. It's not stagnant. It's fluid. So you should always want to inject your main issues into the bloodstream of the body politic and hammer away. And listen, they seem to get the logic on $15 minimum wage probably because we're closer to the actual finish line on $15 minimum wage. You know, there's a much better chance we'll get $15 minimum wage compared to Medicare for all. So they shied away from the Medicare for all fight, but there were only upsides to take on that fight too. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's only upsides. The more we're talking about our issues, the better. That's across the board. So anyway, they're showing a little bit of fight, but they should refine their message a little bit and let them know it's not negotiable. To say, oh, I'll vote for it even if it's not in there, that's the last thing you should do. But at least their heart's in the right place and they're getting better.